Hello, Scrappy friends. Welcome back to my channel. So today I want to talk a little bit about what my goals for 2024 are. And I have a kind of a basic goal this year. Of course, I want to scrapbook more in 24, but I also want to bring out my tools and just really get into using my tools. And my plan with that is to each layout see if I could add just one more tool to be used on that page. I buy all these tools. I don't mind buying more, but I do want to use them and learn different ways to change them up, get the most use out of my tools. So that's my plan for 2024 is just to see if I could always just kick it up a notch. And so doing that, I'm going to probably bring back a series I used to do called Tool Roulette, where I'll let the computer generate the tools that I use on a page. That's always fun. But also what I want to do is to come on here and just create a page, not with a sketch or a specific end result in mind, but mainly just to get my photos on the page using a simple background and then adding tools to it. So just to have a little bit of fun with our tools. So you'll see over here the tools that I want to try to incorporate onto today's layout, and maybe even one or two more as we go along. So let's go ahead and push these aside for now, and we'll go ahead and jump in. For my papers today, I'm going to use these beautiful star papers, and these all came from the Bedazzled Star collection. I have also been going through some of my stash and reorganizing things and pulling out some collections I haven't used in a while. And I'm going to use these to get some graduation pictures of my daughter. She graduated in 2016, so it's about time I get some of these into an album. I don't think this will be the only page I create for her graduation, but this will be one set of them. I'm going to start my layout with some white background today. I'm just using the back side of some insert pages. So I think the white will be a nice balance to everything that I have planned for today. But at the very end, we might change that around. I'm going to start by bringing in these two pieces of pattern paper, trimming them down to create my background piece. Okay, so I cut the first piece, this multicolor star paper. I cut that into a 3-inch by 12-inch. This is what I would call the icon paper, or my most bold piece of pattern paper that I want to use on my layout. This would usually set my tone for my theme and the other colors that I want to bring into my layout. So here I have some maroon, gold, dark blue, and light blue. And this, I wanted to just use a little piece of it because I think a little bit goes a long way. And I'm going to put it right over here to the far left-hand corner. So whenever I don't know where to start, I would usually start this on the left-hand side and work my way to the right. So I like that placement, but another placement I was thinking about would have been over here on the left hand, and maybe even cutting 2 strips and bringing it to the left hand. But I don't want to make a complete mirror image today. So I'm going to place that right there. Then I took the maroon star paper and I cut that right into 2 pieces, so I would have 2 6 by 12-inch pieces of paper. I want this to be the main area where my photos will lie, and I like using a 6-inch piece because it gives us a lot of flexibility. We can move it up or down or in the center, and it gives us plenty of room right here to house larger size photos. So almost a full 6 by 4 vertical photo would fit here with just a little bit of trimming. If I made this any bigger, 6.5 or more, then I wouldn't have enough for both sides. And this piece I do want to run across both sides. So I'm going to place this here in the center, but I'm not going to adhere it down yet because I want to bring in my tools now and figure out where everything's going to go. This is going to be my very basic background for this layout. My daughter's school colors were maroon and gold, but I like the fact that this has some dark blue and light blue on it because that gives me more color options to bring in. So even though they aren't specifically her school colors, I'm going to go with it and go ahead and bring in some blue. The first thing I want to bring in is this beautiful dark blue star paper. It's so pretty. It has some foil gold stars and dots throughout it. I think it's just perfect little amount of bling for this graduation layout. And I'm going to bring in my first tool, which will be my Mandala Burst Border Punch, and I'm going to punch out 2 borders, 1 for each side of my layout. So I'll put you on fast forward and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go. I trimmed it at 1 1/4 inches on my trimmer, and I'm going to tuck that right underneath the maroon. I like to have room on my layouts to add extra photos if I need to, so I still want to play around with this. So I'm going to bring in my mat so that I could line it up straight. So when I'm counting my tools and how many I use at the end of the video, I will not be counting things like my trimmer or my mats, things like that. I'm putting this at 2 inches right now to see if I like it. I think that's going to be pretty good. This way it has that little bit of white down here. And there we go. Now, if you watch me at all, you know that I like to cover up my seams right here. So I like to do that with either a strip of paper or a border sticker or a border punch, or even a little piece of washi tape. I really love little thin washi, and I might even come back over here once we adhere that down and cover up that seam as well. But right now for this seam over here, I'm going to bring in my border making system and the mirrored scalloped cartridge, and I'm going to punch out 1 row on this light blue star paper. You won't even see the stars probably on this particular punch, but that's okay. It's more about getting the color from the paper and the texture from the punch. Okay, so I'm just going to do 1 row of this. This is a great border. I use it all the time for covering up the seams. Okay, let's see. So it's going to go just like that. So I'm going to bring in some more of this blue paper and bring it over to the other side. And for this, again, it's not going to matter so much the direction of it. I'm going to do a 5 inch by 9.5 inch cut. And with this piece, I'm going to bring back in my Mandala burst. I went 5 inches across here because I'm going to give it 2 punches at the top and 2 punches at the bottom with my Mandala burst punch to kind of give me a photo mat. And this punches out about 2.5. I did pre-measure that before I decided how big I wanted. So each time you would use a different punch for this idea, you would want to pre-measure it. And then I'm going to flip it upside down and punch the other side. The reason being, I want the punch out to be centered, and you'll see I have a little bit of an overhang here, and I want that to be on the same side. So see, my overhang now is on the same side, and I'm just going to trim that off with my trimmer, and then I'm going to bring this in and match it up to 2 of the bursts over here, and then let it go and protrude over the top of my band here. I think what I'm going to do here is pause my video and get everything adhered down so it stops moving on me, and then I'm going to bring in my photos, do some photo placement, and make some decisions as far as titling and journal box. Then we'll jump right into embellishing. Okay, so hold on. Okay, so here we are. And I went ahead and it added that thin strip of washi tape. I knew I wanted to cover up that seam between the punch and the paper, and I just love doing that with a little bit of washi tape. You can also get that same effect with about 1/8 of an inch cut of paper, so very thin or even bigger, however you want. However big you want, you could add right there. So let me go ahead and bring in my photos. And these I have already trimmed down to, I kept them 4 inches wide because I had plenty of space for that, but I did trim them to about 5 1/4. And I'm just gonna make a row of them right here. And put that one right there. Now this photo here, my mat is big enough to accommodate a 4 by 6, but I went ahead and trimmed it down to 5 1/4 just so it would be consistent with the others. I might come back through and put another mat behind there just to kind of make this one pop out. But this area here that I created this special photo mat for would be one of those photos that you want to highlight. I think my daughter looks super cute there with some glasses that someone gave her. I thought, why not? Why not highlight that photo? It's super sweet and just shows the spirit of that day. Then I had 2 smaller photos that I wanted to get on here as well. And so I trimmed these down to 3 by 4s. And I'm going to put these right up here. And I'll have to just make a decision if I want to come back in and mat those later on. But that's going to be my general photo placement. And I'll get 6 photos on this 2-page spread. And I'm going to leave this area right over here for the journaling. And for my journaling, I'm going to bring in a strip of lined paper that I've already trimmed to 2.5 inches wide. The length doesn't matter at this point because I will be cutting it to fit right in there. But before I do that, I'm going to bring in my border making system again. This time I'm going to bring in the notebook Edge Punch. I use this one all the time for my journaling spots, and I feel like this is a school layout, so my notebook Edge Punch is perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and punch the whole row, even though I don't need the whole row. And then I'm going to just tuck this right over here off to the side. And that's going to be my journaling area. Now I need a spot to house my title. I would like it to go right over here. So for that, I'm going to bring in my custom cutting system. And I'm going to use the smallest circle in the set. And I'm going to cut out 2 circles using the green blade on the outside track. And I'll do 1 for each page and we'll see how we're going to use them. So I feel like this is a little bigger than I wanted, so I'm actually going to switch over to my large circle and use my green blade on the inside, and then I'll come back and trim that up as well. So these are much better size circles here than the bigger one. I like that much better. I felt like the big one was going to be too dominating for my layout. So I think I'm going to put one somewhere over here, probably to house my title. And maybe over here on this side somewhere. So for the title, I want to bring in this title card I had in my stash. It says "Reach for the Stars." When I saw this, I loved it right away because it's gold and it has that dark blue that we have over here. And I want to kind of put it somewhere right around there. I think I'm going to trim it down ever so slightly. There we go. That way it's not so big. And I probably will pop that up onto some foam as well. But first, I feel like it's kind of blending in to my circle there. So I want to add what I would call a cluster base. So some kind of tucking underneath there. So for that, I'm going to bring in this new Scallop square punch. And if you haven't seen this one, it's pretty neat because it has 3 different ways that you can punch it. You can do a solid, you can do like an open frame, a square, and a scallop come out. So it's pretty nifty. But what I'm going to use is the solid one. And I'm going to bring in this piece of maroon scrap paper I had in my stash. One punches out like that, but I don't think that's going to be quite big enough for what I want. So I'm going to do 2. And kind of weld them together. Let me bring in my mat here and put a little bit of repositionable tape right there at the bottom. and I'm just lining up the little scallops. There we go. So I made a little base. You could hardly see the seam on this dark paper, and it wouldn't matter anyway if you did see the seam, because this is going to cover it right up. And then, like I said, I'll put this up onto some foam, and there we go. It'll go like that. And I'm going to come back in and do a little bit more embellishing up there. But yeah, I like it. I incorporated all those colors up there. So yep, it's looking good. Before I move on to embellishing, I do want to come back through and matte these two photos up here. I feel like they're kind of getting lost, and possibly matte this one. And I'm going to bring in this beautiful blue star paper that I used down here for the border. Yep, I went ahead and matted those, and I like it a lot. It really adds a lot more, especially since I went ahead and kept the white as my background. Then it really needed these two for sure to be matted, and this one just really helped it pop out. Okay, so I'm ready to do some embellishing, but before I do that, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you, is this something that you like? Do you want to see more videos using more tools? My goal this year, but tell me in the comments, what are your goals this year? What do you want to get more use out of in your room? Is it your paper stash or your stickers? Or is it your tools? And also, if you wouldn't mind just giving me a thumbs up if you're liking this video and this content, I would really appreciate it, and I thank you for doing that. But before I get into embellishing, I'm looking at my layout, and there is one more tool I want to bring in. So I have this big area right here that I want to kind of fill in with something. So I'm going to bring in my favorite tag punch. I love this punch. So for today, I'm going to bring in a piece of navy cardstock, and I'm going to actually trim this down to a 4-inch tag. That's my preferred size, 2.5 by 4 inch, because it gives me lots of room for tucking. And yep, I'm just going to tuck that right in over here like that. Okay, now we are officially ready for embellishing. We'll start right up here. Kind of want to move that circle down so there's no trapped white space right there. My title could now overlap onto my tag. The tag would be a great spot if you needed a little more journaling than that. You can add some paper there and do some journaling on that as well. And up here by the title, I'm going to bring in this cute graduation cap. Pretty traditional for a graduation layout. And I like this one because it has the little bit of gold on it that has been going with the theme of my layout anyway. Then I have this sticker here. It just says "You did it." It's like a little medallion. I like it because she's holding a medallion that she received there. And I think I just want to put it off to the side of the tag like that. Yeah, I like that. Okay, then over here, let's scoot this over here. I'm thinking I want to kind of tuck this behind. What I want to do is I don't want it poking through punch area there. So I'm just going to slightly tuck it, put it there, and then I'll trim off that excess. There we go. And that's going to be another embellishment base right there. And I'm going to bring in this little diploma. It came from the same collection that this little die cut cap came from, and again, I like it because it has that gold. I want the gold section to kind of hang into the maroon area right there, kind of at an angle. And then I had this dark blue heart in my stash as well, and I think I want to tuck that right in over there. And I'm going to keep building here. I'm going to bring in some graduation stickers and have this one that says Book Smart. I really love that one, so I want to incorporate that. I think I'll pop that up onto some foam. Also on this sticker sheet, I saw it said here class of, and since she's wearing the glasses there, I thought, oh, that'd be super cute. It says class of, put it like a little tab right up there, class of 2016. As my finishing touches, I decided I'm going to bring in some dimensional flowers. Now I'm bringing in flowers because, well, I like flowers on any layout. But she's also wearing, she, received a couple of leis and she got a bouquet of flowers here. So I thought, these would be perfect. They're like a dark pink, almost mauve. And I thought I would bring one up here as well as a sunflower, put that like that. And then I thought I would come down here, maybe put two of the dark pink flowers there, and then a sunflower right in there, something like that. Don't need to add any dimension to those because they're already dimensional. Well, that's going to be my completed layout for today. I love it. I love the incorporation. I actually got 6 tools used in here, and I don't feel like it's overwhelming. I feel like this is my main tool down here because it really just adds that pop of flair that you would want to see at a graduation. Everything else I feel like are kind of minor. This one over here adding the notebook edge to give it that school look, and then the circle from my custom cutting system and the tag being kind of like cluster bases, and even the little scallop square punch making a little cameo appearance right here. I think that just adds just a little bit, adds the color and some texture up to my cluster. And then of course I like to call generic punch covering up my seam right there. So there we go. That's my fun with tools layout. I really enjoyed that challenge of trying to get several tools used, and I'm going to continue challenging myself throughout this year. So I hope that you come back and see what I have in store. Until then, I'm going to link some of my older tool roulette videos right over here for you to enjoy. So go take a look. Tell me what you think about those. Okay? Take care, everybody, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.